You know, this morning, candidate Mitt Romney is defending himself against this hidden camera footage taken at a private fundraiser last May. Take a look.
There are 47% of the people who will vote for the president no matter what. All right, there are 47% who are with him, who are dependent upon government, who believe that they are victims, who believe that government has a responsibility to care for them, who believe that they're entitled to health care, to food, to housing, to you name it. But it's an entitlement, and the government should give it to them. And they will vote for this president no matter what. And I mean, the president starts off with 48, 49, 40, he starts off with a huge number. These are people who pay no income tax. 47% of Americans pay no income tax. So our message of low taxes doesn't connect. And he'll be out there talking about tax cuts for the rich.
So now, after the footage, Governor Romney said his points were, quote, not elegantly stated, but were meant to contrast what he called President Obama's government-centered society and Romney's belief in a free market approach.
Okay, so what he said, as it turns out, well, first of all, there is no such thing anymore as saying things in secret, and he should know everything. We know everything leaks. Right. But what he said is true. 46% of Americans do not pay federal income tax last year. Roughly half of them is because their income was so low, under $50,000. A lot of them were elderly. What he's saying is they're not going to vote for me. And he probably is right. They're not going to vote for him.
Because as it turns out, Jason did a little investigating, and it says of the 10 states with the most people not paying federal income tax, 9 are Republican with Republican governors. So I think he's writing off people without knowing the people he's writing off.
Here's what I think he's really doing, actually.
Excuse me, his fact was correct. That's all I'm saying.
I appreciate that his fact was correct. I'm just saying that
there's more facts.
There's more to it.
I also think there's a general feeling in this, like outside of the numbers here, I think there's a general feeling that with more and more people becoming dependent on government, that by next July we could perhaps be celebrating Dependence Day, not Independence Day in this nation. This is not something that I'm just feeling alone.
Yes, it is.
There are two philosophies here.
That doesn't make it so.
You can patronize me for what I'm thinking, and you can put me in a corner for it, but I'm not alone.
Elizabeth, don't take this personally.
No, I'm not.
I'm not patronizing you.
It's not my issue, but all I'm saying is that I do believe that there are two schools of thought. One is that it's a good thing to have more and more government, people dependent on government, and the other is that we want to create people who are independent and free. Because are you free if you're dependent on your government? You're not really free.
Feeling about the speech that it might have been delivered first by Marie Antoinette. I mean, there is a feeling that he is like, okay, they're victims. These people, they're dependent.
No, what he's saying is
what he's
saying is the overall feeling that is projected.
What he's saying is, I won't get their vote. You know, he went on and said something else that hasn't gotten that much attention, and I want to know what you think about it. He said, women are open to supporting me. Well, you know, he supposedly had a problem with women. He thinks that's okay. He said, but we're having a much harder time with Hispanic voters. And if the Hispanic voting bloc becomes as committed to the Democrats as the African-American voting bloc has in the past, we are in trouble as a party and as a nation.
And yet, Barbara, part of the thing he said is that if he were Mexican, he'd have a better chance of winning. Really, that's a great way to sort of endear yourself to the Hispanic vote, saying that, you know, that if you were Mexican, you'd be in better shape.
Well, you know, from a family of immigrants
just to go by what I said, which he says, if the Hispanics become a voting bloc, we're in trouble as a nation?
Can I also think...
Go ahead, Sherry. You haven't said Jack.
Well, you know, I just want to not take away from that, but he was in a room full of 30 very rich people. And sometimes when you're in a room with people, it's like comedy. Know your audience. So are you shocked that he would say something like that? I think politicians do it all the time.
All the time.
Don't you think he learned from being at the NAACP? The first thing he said was, I'm going to repeal health care, and he got booed.
But the question, he may mean it. He may mean it. But it seems to me, if you just assume that the people you're talking about aren't interested in you, basically it sort of sounds like, as Joy said, you'll never vote for me. It seems to me, you know, some people will vote for him and have voted for him and are in his corner. I think it was kind of dopey to say.
And that's what I think when people are feeling not included in this, when you say if all Mexicans, if they become a voting bloc, we're in trouble.
What he's been talking about again and again is that it's like, I hate to use statistics, like 5% of voters can go either way.